Hello, GCOP. I'm Minister Cheryl Sims. I am a proud charter member of God's exciting Cathedral of Praise Baptist Church, a member for 26 years, and this is my journey. A little bit about my journey finding out about breast cancer. At the age of 40, every woman is required by medical or ask women at the age of 40 to take their mammogram. I was 42. I had not had my first mammogram until I was 42 years old. Doctor said, hey, it's time for a mammogram. So I went, didn't think nothing of it, took my mammogram and went in like anybody else thinking all was gonna be well. Well, guess what? They called me back and they said, oops, we don't have anything to match your first picture with. So we need to do a second mammogram just to see compare the first picture with the second picture. After that, they said, oh, Miss Sims, we need to do a biopsy because we found something in your right breast. And I'm like, okay, let's go for it. Still not thinking anything of it. Took the biopsy, did the mammogram, and I was good for a couple of weeks. Then, boom, that phone call came, said, Miss Sims, and I was at work, working for the city of Dallas, and I'm gonna put that plug in there. I was working for the city of Dallas. Typical day of work, got the phone call, stepped outside, and the nurse said, Miss Sims, we have some news for you. Your results for your biopsy came back in. And I'm like, okay, give it to me. Boom, came back positive for breast cancer. And that's how my journey began. First emotion that I received after getting that phone call and hanging up was shock. So I was like, no, this cannot be true. So I'm there all alone, standing outside of my office, and I went and got a coworker, and I was like, you won't believe this. Come outside. And she was like, what is it? And I was like, I just got a call about my biopsy. And they said it was positive for breast cancer. I was shocked. I was numb. And I didn't know what to do at that particular point. And she hugged me. She prayed with me. And she said, go home. And I said, okay, let me grab my bags, grab my things, take care of my team, and I'm gonna go home. And so, again, it was a numbing feeling. It was disbelief. It was like shocked, all those little emotions, because you would say, not me, I'm healthy. I can't be positive for breast cancer. Wow, great question. My faith has kept me strong through the entire beginning, even going through the process of the mammogram, the second mammogram, the biopsy, and then that phone call. What God spoke to me in my spirit was, this is your assignment. And my faith was like, Lord, I accept the assignment. Because that's when I realized that God had a purpose for me to go through this journey. Even though I'm trying to figure out, how did I get breast cancer? There's not a trend in my family. It's something in my family that I knew of that women were diagnosed with breast cancer. So I'm like, okay, wow. Even though I had an aunt who was diagnosed, hers was very small, but it wasn't a common thing that happened in my family. It wasn't genetically on my mom's side of the family, but my faith kept me strong throughout the entire process. I knew God had me. I knew God was in control, and I knew that I was just a vessel to be used for this assignment. Did death ever cross my mind? Absolutely not, believe it or not, because I knew that God had me. So whether he healed me on this side or the other side, I was good. But death never crossed my mind. Absolutely. Again, like I said, when I got that phone call and my coworker said, go home, and I immediately called my sister and I said, I'm headed to mom's. I got my diagnosis back from the results back from the biopsy, and it came back positive, and she said, okay, we got this, which I had already had it in my head. We got this. And her response to me was, we're in this together as a family, and we don't want anyone in our circle or even in your circle that has a pity party. The woe is me syndrome from the beginning. We want positivity, and that's where I was. I was in a positive mindset the entire time, that it wasn't about me, it was about God getting the glory through this process, and having a strong support system from the beginning throughout the end, even after being an overcomer, because it says survivor, but I overcame breast cancer. Breast cancer, I had breast cancer. Basically, breast cancer didn't have me. Again, a strong support system. Family kept me encouraged. My daughter kept me encouraged. Single mom, with one child, I can only imagine what was going through her mind, but she kept me encouraged. My family kept me encouraged. Even going through the testing, I had to go through several testing before actually making the decision as to what treatment I would go through. Would I do a lumpectomy? Would I do a lumpectomy? Or would I do a double mastectomy? Or just one removing of one breast or both breasts? And so going through that journey, family kept me strong. My faith kept me strong. But just going through that entire process, knowing that I had a strong support system with me, is what basically kept me through that, even up into the day of me making a decision to say, now I'm gonna be honest with you, I had a moment. The only moment I had was, God, these are my breasts. This is a part of me. Why would you want to take something a part of me? And vanity crept in. And God says, I want your soul. It's about your soul. It's not the outer piece. And that's when tears just ran down my face. And I said, vanity is gone. It's gone. So I'm going to opt to do a double mastectomy. After going through all of my testing, that was the final decision that I had before surgery. Lesson and blessing. Lesson is, I would tell anybody and every female, male who I know, find out that they say, hey, I'm going for my mammogram. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I tell people to know your family history. That was the lesson I learned. As I stated, on my mom's side of the family, we didn't have a history of breast cancer. However, on my dad's side of the family, we did. I did genetic testing, and through that genetic testing, I was able to find out that I was diagnosed. Basically, I had the BRCA2 gene. And BRCA2 gene is when you come back positive for breast and ovarian cancer. So that's where the decision came, after praying about it to God and, removing that vanity from me, and God saying, you can remove the breast because I want your soul. That's when the decision was like, take them. Take anything that is obvious where cancer will come. So that was the lesson that I learned, and a blessing also, because I began to learn more about my dad's side of the family. I began to, I had a sister who was also diagnosed with breast cancer. She passed in 2016 because her cancer came back. But I had cousins and aunts on my dad's side. So I got to learn a little bit more about his side of the family to know my journey and what I needed to do moving forward. Wow, this journey has changed my perspective on life. Number one is that God gives us one opportunity to live on this earth. And we have to really be more conscientious about our well-being, whether it's our physical body, our mental body, just taking care of ourselves. Your self-care is so key. Taking care of ourselves, whether you get your hair done, your nails done, a massage, whatever it is for self-care. Reading a book can be self-care, but doing that for yourself has been one thing. And then just bringing you closer to God. I love speaking to women, telling them about my journey, because again, as I stated, it was an assignment for me, and God gives us all a purpose. So I'm like, God, this is the assignment you placed in my life. So I accept the assignment, and being able to go and be an encouragement to other women who are going through this battle, this journey of life, and letting them see that God heals on this side. So that increased my faith even more, drawing me closer to Him, and being a living testimony to draw others closer to Him. Trust God. Scripture tells us to trust in the Lord with all our heart. Lean not on our own understanding, and always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Trust God through the process. Trust God through the assignment that He placed upon your life, so that He can get the glory through your sickness, through your journey of life. Stay positive. Read your word. Pray to God. You can also have those moments of crying, because you are the only one going through this journey. Cry, but pick yourself back up, because you trust God. Whew. I pondered about that question. And I'm just going to go back to my phrase, God, I accept your assignment.